might be a benefit if you know the circumstances in which I'm living at this immediate time. I've got a background of contentment, of both concretely in that I can stay in the rented property I'm in for probably until September or even further into the future, which gives me a relief of concern as to, you know, what sort of place to live in I might find next, with various constraints that make that difficult, finance and so on. And I have a new friend who is my age, and well, don't want to risk saying more, but it's significant to me at the minute. It's summertime, of course, in New Zealand, which has can have a good effect, can't it? I find I'm, for instance, doing my usual background stuff. I'm actually doing about six exercises of yoga that I've been doing on and off since I was a child. Sometimes off for long periods of time, but I mean, they stretch right back to those. Indra Devi, Yoga for You, the book was. What is it? Shoulder stand, leg raise, cobra, and bending forward. Yeah. And I'm doing Paramahansa's energization exercises, not twice a day, basically once a day. I'm also doing the Kriya breathing in the very economic formulation that I have of it, which is basically the breathing, triangular breathing. I've talked about that before, haven't I? It's a new year, and I'm finding the meetings are opening up again, which are giving me stimulus as regards ideas that go into the recordings. And the recordings are mounting up phenomenally, at a phenomenal rate, more than several a day, quite often. And as you can see, they come to me in the morning, anything from, typically 3 o'clock onwards, but can be just from 5 o'clock. Surprisingly, I'm sleeping more. My sleep's upped in the last few days. It was at an all-time low, as low as 5 hours a night, 4.5, 4, which I really felt was too little. My diet is, it's been steadily improving for a long time, and I think I'm reaching a sort of, there's much of it that is organic. It's increasingly uncooked, although I do have steamed vegetables at times, quite often. It's definitely minimizing grain now as well. And similarly, dairy. I'm still picking up quite a bit from being out, I suppose. But not much, not much. Oh, I have the optimism of, it looks as though it's on the agenda for me to take and bring home my little girl from school in the coming term. And that's a happy development from my point of view, because it means extremely regular, useful contact with her, where I can be in the father role, which I so want her to have. You know, she's 12 and I'm 77. And I suppose, I mean, I've been in it for something like 8 or 9 years now, but the living alone disposition, I mean, not entirely alone, the house has other people downstairs, but with whom I seem to be on reasonably good accord. Overall, in the circumstances, are extremely favourable at present. And I'm getting tremendous encouragement from the creation of these recordings. It's the very essence of my spiritual life at present. You know, life has meaning, tremendous meaning. I'm flying much of the time. It's the only way to describe it. Don't get me wrong, I've never taken drugs, but that's my way of describing it. I'm on a high. As you can tell. Well, I tell you these things not to, I hope, boast or something, but to say well, it's good to understand the context in which this advice is coming to be formulated. And it is advice, isn't it? I mean, I don't hold with the notion of teachers, as you know, but in some sense I still find that's the reality of what I'm doing. I'm teaching, in effect, aren't I, what I think is going to be of the best benefit to you, regardless whether I think teaching is of validity or not. As in Jesus' story called No Man Teacher, which I take to be very important as regards avoiding, well, teaching that quite honestly just leads you astray, whether it's religious, scriptural, or supposed enlightenment. I suppose I'm accepting the fact that we are all examples of something, and we're drawn to the examples of the something that we value. So I'm pointing out the circumstances in which I'm producing these recordings, and I hope that's in some help to you. Thank you, Heavenly Dad.